All right, welcome everybody to another one of these technical analysis videos. I thought today I'd go ahead and just do a quick kind of just a technical analysis review on SPY and what it did last week. I'm going to try and do these weekly SPY video reviews for now, but down the road I will do my best to maybe do daily, and then we can kind of recap, see what SPY did for the day. But for now, yeah, let's go ahead and focus on, just looking at some of the technicals on SPY for last week. So let me go ahead and open this up on TradingView here. So as you guys can tell, I've already gone ahead and I've kind of mapped out some support and resistance levels already. So yeah, let's just look over this really quick. So a couple things here that I want to focus on. This is the 4-hour daily chart. Let's go ahead and just take a quick glance at the daily. So the nice thing with the daily, obviously, remember we want to go ahead and do some top-down analysis, but the daily does give you a nice little overview of what the direction of SPY, and some of the other candlesticks for the previous support, resistance levels, and all that stuff. So I do like to take a look at the daily occasionally, just kind of glance at it and see what the ticker is doing on the bigger time frames. Let's go ahead and let's just quick glance at the weekly. So on the weekly, I mean, you guys can definitely tell, obviously right here, right, this candlestick, huge green candle. This was the week of March 14th. Again, every one of these candles represents a week when you're on the weekly chart. And so this right here, what's interesting about last week is obviously, the previous week we did have a really big push to the upside, right? But this week we did get a smaller candle. The one thing that I do want to emphasize here on the SPY chart is that you guys can tell also there was almost no wick at the top, right? So if you guys focus on some of these wicks right here, you can see some of the selling pressure that came in, right, on these previous weeks. However, this one, if we take a look at it, I mean, there's really almost no wick at the top. So that tells me that there was really almost no sellers that stepped in this past week on SPY, right? So something to definitely kind of keep in mind there. As we kind of work our way on down to the daily here, we do have previous resistance, right? So I've gone ahead and I put February resistance right here. This is where we got that double top, right? And in February, and then we got this massive sell-off here. And so we are nearing that resistance zone right there. We are currently sitting at about 452.69 right now on SPY, which is the top of this wick right there. So 452.69. And we did have a little bit of market structure on the 4-hour. This resistance level right here, this candle, that puts us at 448.06. So that was the resistance that we kind of broke through and closed above this week. Okay. So let's work our way on down. Let's look at the 4-hour real quick. Let's see here. So the bottom or the 4-hour, I kind of like here. So even though this is already past history, I still like to come on here and then kind of chart these points just for future references. It just kind of helps me to be able to understand and see what the stock did down here at the bottom, because if I can later on duplicate that same setup, that helps me. So as you guys can tell, we have our first support level right here that was created, that obviously we pushed to the upside, correct? Came down, kind of retested that level. If you guys watch my previous video, I talk about support or breakouts and retest, which is exactly what it kind of did here. Now I'm not going to go too much into detail on that, but so if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check it out. And on top of that, we did get another push, came down, retested again this second support level. Now at that time that this previous bounce was created right here, we went ahead and this is what it looked like, right? So we did get a bit of a fake breakout right here, fake break to the downside, sorry, and then retest it and then push to the upside, right? So we got our initial leg up, came, retested this support level, right, which now created a higher low, pushed up, we've found some resistance here previous to this neckline right here. You guys can kind of tell. Obviously then we came down, retested, did a little bit of a fake out, and this is where it trapped a lot of bears, right? So this is where a lot of bears were trapped when they took that breakout right away, right? They all got trapped. The next day we can tell obviously SPY pushed to the upside. So let's go ahead and work our way down to the 65 minute now. Now the reason I like using the 65 minute over the 1 hour, the 65 minute just gives me 6 equal candlesticks versus the 1 hour chart. It gives me 6.5 candlesticks. So I like to be able to work with that even number there for SPY or any ticker. The 65 minute I think is just phenomenal. So let's go ahead and let's keep going here. So obviously, like I said, yeah, we did break this high, which was right here on SPY, which was the 448.06, right? So we came up here. Let me just extend this so you guys can kind of see what SPY did. And again, remember, if you guys watched that video for the breakout, for the breakouts and retests, push to the upside, right? We came on back down. We pushed again, so we broke out, retested right here. And as you guys can tell, support became resistance. And then right here, then resistance became support. Right, so this is where SPY is currently at right now. We are sitting above the support level. Now, a couple things to keep in mind for this week coming up. Let's go ahead and let's do this too, so that way we can kind of focus here on this. Where's my vertical line? Okay, so the vertical line, let's go ahead and let's start 18th to 20th. All right. So from this red line on, this was the start of this previous week, right, on Monday. So as you guys can clearly see, we did hold this support level right here, which if we kind of drag this to the side, this previous 4 hour break of structure from March 3rd, you guys can clearly tell right here, we did get a breakout, retest, and then continued up, right? And then as you guys can tell right here, we did try to do another retest of this area right here, okay? So let me just kind of do this so you guys can kind of see that retest on SPY really quick. Right there, okay? So you guys can see we did break to the upside, retested. So for everybody that didn't take the breakout right at the beginning of week around March 22nd, right at opening, there's a lot of people that waited for that retest at 443. They went long and they capitalized on this big move from 443 to 453. So that was some pretty good gains right there. Simply, you know, you just gotta take it slow. You know, don't rush into any of these things right here. In the Discord, we did manage on Friday to capitalize on about a 160 to 200%, I think, is what I saw on some of the plays from people taking these puts when we had that nice little flush down. But as we can tell, obviously it reversed on us. So yeah, so there was that. But yeah, like I said, so far we are still trending to the upside right here. We still see the trend is strong, right? So now, in order for this to kind of validate a downtrend, we are still creating these higher lows, right? So we got one here, we got another one here, another one here, and then depending on what SPY does this week coming up, if it makes another push to the downside and then bounces, then that would validate another higher low, right? So and even right here we can kind of clearly still see that uptrend there. So some of the levels though that I am watching going into this week, obviously we want to see a break above 452.98. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll leave this marked on there. 452.65, or no, 452.98, sorry. So that is going to be the resistance level that we do need to break through this week, and we need to hold above that to be able to continue further up. However, keep in mind that if it does break, we do have this big wall right in front of us, right at 457.80. That's the other level that we want to make sure that we are keeping an eye on, right? Now, if you guys watch my previous video, there is I always talk about like sniper entry. So just really quick, something to kind of keep in mind is once these levels are hit, right, once SPY or any ticker hits your levels, what you are watching is you can go down to the smaller time frames, right? Then you want to look for a break of structure. You want to see that the trend is weakening at these levels, and that's how you can get in, right? So right here we can clearly see SPY pushed up. We did have that wall right here. At the same time, let me see if I can do it on here. We did have 1, 2, and almost three touches right there, right? So that kind of validates a triple top right there. Now, if that wasn't enough for a lot of people, then you have you got a low right here, and then you got a lower low followed by a lower high, right? So that's a break of market structure right there on SPY. And so if you were trying to play that, then you can also take that first low, right? And then that would be your break of structure. So this would be the entry that then you would look for, right? And remember, breakouts and retests. Look what happened here, right? Beautiful break of structure right here, which broke this low, came down, pushed up. You can tell based on these candlesticks, there's a lot of selling pressure that came in and then started that downtrend, right? So when SPY hits these levels, or as we get near these levels, this is what I'm looking for, right? Now I'm going to start looking on these smaller time frames, and I want to see what market structure is doing, and that might give me an opportunity to be able to get in early on some of these plays. Okay, so never be afraid to use that smaller time frame to do sniper entries, but look at the bigger time frame, right? Look at what it's doing on the bigger time frame. So clearly again here we can see, we got a low, we got a higher low, higher low, higher low, and it continues up, right? So if you want to go, if you do see that trend right here starting to break pattern with SPY, then what we would need to see is for SPY to kind of start rejecting these levels either here or here and start to create these lower lows, right? Followed by lower highs. That would be an indication of, hey, it looks like SPY could potentially be reversing a little bit to the downside. Okay, now that doesn't mean, okay, keep in mind that just because it is going on a downtrend, it doesn't mean that SPY is we're just going into a sell-off, right? In order for SPY to be able to call it an actual, I would say, like a downtrend. Now don't quote me on this, I could be wrong, but what I would look for is for this low right here to break, right? Because this is the most recent support level that we have in terms of a low, right? This is the first low before pushing up, right? So this would be the area where I would want to see a break, retest, and then push to the downside, right? Until that happens, this would still be considered an uptrend, right? So we're still going up. Let me see here. Do it. No, it's not gonna do it. Okay, hold on, guys. Let me get the correct one. It's the path one, sorry. Okay, so for SPY, we would need to see something like this, right? We would need it to break below that previous one, retest, and then continue making lower lows and lower highs. Then that means that SPY is on a downtrend, right? But until that happens, I mean, we're just keeping an eye on these levels. As long as SPY can hold these levels above it, then we are still good. But again, the levels that we are looking for on SPY moving forward, going into the week, is going to be the 452.98, which is the current resistance level. But we do have a strong wall that we need to break through, which is 457.80. That's last month's high, right? The level to watch to the downside would be 453.79, which is the most recent low. Okay, once we break through this, if we manage to break through in the next week or so, and we'll obviously recap at the end of the week to see how we did. But if we do manage to break through, then I would want it to see some sort of consolidation, some sort of cooling off period before we can proceed further up, right? So for now, this is the area we're going to be focusing in on this week. Again, thank you guys for joining me in on this quick SPY recap technical analysis. Let me know if there's anything I can do to kind of improve it for the next time. I'm trying to make these as quick as possible. I know you guys have things going on. I don't want to keep you guys tied up. But again, this is going to be the recap for the previous week of SPY. And then next weekend, we'll go ahead and we'll recap this week, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, guys. Well, hope you guys enjoy this, and I will talk to you guys soon.